So the first ones there have the parentheses around them, and then they start throwing in the ones without the parentheses. Technically, if there's not the parentheses, that negative sign means it's a -1 times your value. So this means -1 times 9 squared. Following our order of operations, we have to do exponents before we do multiplying, like we talked about before. 9 squared is 81. 81 times -1 means that stays negative. As a general rule, if you're thinking about the odd and even signs being, if I have an even number of negative signs, it stays positive, and if there's an odd number, if it's in the parentheses, you count the negative the same number of times as the exponents. If it's not in the parentheses, you count the negative as just one negative sign. So in this case, there's going to be 3 negatives for the -2 cubed, 1 negative for the one on the outside. 4 negative signs means my answer is going to end up being a positive number. Technically, if I wrote this out the long way, this would be -1 times -2 times -2 times -2, which gives me +8. But if I'm trying to figure out is it going to be positive or negative, check how many negative signs you'd end up with. Here, I'm going to have 2 negatives because that's in the parentheses. There's also 1 on the outside, so 3 negatives altogether means that's going to stay negative. So if I have minus a -9 squared, my answer is going to be -81, right? Here, this negative only counts once because there's no parentheses. So if I have -4 to the 3rd power, I end up with
64.
What's my sign? It's going to be negative, right? That negative only counts once. It means -1 times 4 to the 3rd. So it's going to stay negative on that one. So -64. $24, if you look at that one, is my answer going to be positive or negative? It's going to be positive, right? The negative on the inside counts 3 times. You also have 1 on the outside, so there's 4 negatives. So I'm going to end up with a positive, and 3 cubed is 27, right? And on the bottom one, is that one going to be a positive or a negative? Negative, because there's just that 1 negative on the outside. So -64. 8 squared, 64. Again, as I said yesterday, the calculator's not going to be active. I suggest do them on your paper or in your head. If you need to check them with your calculator, check them with your calculator. But try to do them without your calculator.